Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of OneMicNiteTalk. I'm Marco Solis, and of course, I'm here with you know who? The
Ashley Elizabeth Green.
That's
finally.
Right, talented, lovely screenwriter, director Ashley Elizabeth Green. We want to thank you guys for all joining us. It's been a while since we've been here, but first of all, please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on this episode and the podcast in general. Please go to Apple, write a review. Go to Anchor, write a review. We want to know what you think about this podcast so we know what to do better and what to change, or just whether or not you don't like it. But we sure you do. We sure you are liking it. So.
Girl, that's easy. Right. And like, let us know like with the Instagram and put notifications on and follow, because we're about to start doing regular once a week IG lives.
That's right.
So let us know what you would like us to talk about. That would be amazing, because we want y'all involved. Yeah.
So first off, what's up, Ashley? How you been? It's been a while since we talked.
First off, let's talk about how was the play.
So yeah,
let them know people about it.
We gotta tell you,
like you have been a superstar.
I've been trying to do a little something. So for those of you who don't know, I'm also an actor. I don't even think I talk about it very much on the show, but
you don't at all.
I'm back on stage. It's probably been 6 years since I've been on stage, but I was honored to be asked to do a role written by playwright named Marcus Harmon, who I know as a musician, who has subsequently written 4 plays. This one is called The 20th Anniversary, and it's about the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 events that happened. That's coming up this September. It's been 20 years. It's hard to believe.
20 years.
But it was about 2 firefighters who lost their best friend in the fight to save people. And they reminisce about, what life is and what life was, and one has PTSD. And I don't want to tell you too much about it, but it was an incredible emotional journey and a role that any actor would dream of playing. So I was very honored, to play this role. And it was the first live theater off-Broadway event since quarantine. So I'm so happy about that. And I want to thank everybody who came out and supported. We had sold out nights, and thank you all for coming out and supporting this project.
It's good when it's sold out.
That's right. So
it's cooking.
Yeah.
It's cooking when
and
it's sold out.
And also, I have to say, I want to thank the Chain Theater who put this up, because they had a virtual opening night, so people around the world could see it too. My mother was able to see it, from Portland, all my friends, people, cousins, everything. So yeah, it was big. It was big.
That is amazing. Yeah. I love that they did that for everyone around the world. I think do you notice, like, when you did that, like, people are just so thirsty for theater again?
People are hungry, man. It's hungry. The fact that people even showed up, for live theater, everybody, they followed all the protocols. Everybody had to be vaccinated. You had to prove you were vaccinated. I had to prove every time I went in there that I was vaccinated. So safety was the big concern, of everyone there. So hats off to the Chain Theater for doing that.
That is amazing. Yeah. And I remember you said, Little Birdie said y'all might do an encore.
Yeah, we got a little email, so we're not sure what's going to happen, but there may be an encore performance coming up this week. But you got to find out. You got to tune in and find out.
I love that. Yeah. That's amazing, and I'm loving that theater is back, because I already brought like 2 Broadway plays.
Yes.
Color Man, and I bought Chicken and Biscuits.
Good. All right.
I think everybody needs.
Is that what is that, Signature Theater?
No, Chicken and Biscuits is at Circle in the Square.
Okay, these are okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, the playwright Dominique. That's probably who you're thinking of.
That's right.
Signature.
Exactly.
I don't know what hers is yet, but it's such a. I just tell people Broadway tickets are not that expensive. You can get them for at least 60 or 70.
Right.
But I will say this, but it's cheaper when you buy it off the app, because they have, like, if you bought your first Broadway play through the app, you get like a 10%, or you get you know how they charge the extra fee for like $10?
Yeah.
get that taken out.
See
But
that?
I will say this, try to support Black theater on Broadway, because this is the first time all the Broadways pretty much have been predominantly Black.
All the new plays of the Broadway
All the new
season
plays
are Black.
Yes, all the new plays are
playwrights.
Black playwrights, and the cast is pretty much basically Black.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it's a great thing right now that we're living in this type of history. So if you can see it, because those are the two ones I just bought already, and I'm seeing them both in October. So I'm excited to see
That's good.
that.
I need to get on my game. I slipped a little bit because, you know, when you're in rehearsal for a show, you go all in. So sorry, I cut off. The rest of the world, I haven't been doing anything but, you know,
but that's
trying
what
to
you're
get
supposed
this.
to do. I mean, you have to. It's work time, you know, and plus like other energies and things like that. Like you know, you have to watch that. You know, you were really good at that. You were very good at that.
Yeah, it disrupts everything you're trying to do, you know, especially you guys know as actors, as people in the business, you have to concentrate, you have to do the homework, you have to focus, and any of that other energy that's coming in and you're doing a high, you know, emotional piece, it's disruptive. You can't do it.
It's very disruptive, and also like it's tiring in a way because you are trying to figure things out for yourself and learn more. And I just think when the outside world is too many things going on, you know, I feel like as an actress, it's like, okay, I don't have time for Ashley to deal with the regular things that are going on. Right now, I just have to hone in on what's happening right now in my control.
Exactly.
You know, so I think it's great that you took like a little sabbatical and just like, you know, like, I don't have that much time. You know, I think that's great because it keeps your energy, because I don't know how anybody can learn lines and stay, like you said, even with the 4 shows, if it's like, if you're mentally exhausted, you know, you can't afford that. So I think that's really, I was very shocked at your discipline. I was like, that's so good. He's like that.
It took a lot, man. And I have to, you know, the things has to go to 1, the playwright Marcus, and 2, my co-actor, because this was a 2-person show. So I first of all, I had to be open to learning some new techniques because it's been a while since I've been on stage. So we found out about the show in such a short amount of time. We literally had like 3 weeks to get it together. So that means learning all the lines,
You're amazing.
the homework, you know, and doing the highest caliber thing you can do, and building a relationship with your the co-actor.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
That's amazing, right?
To do in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks.
Never over here. Never.
And that's what we like to do. That's what we do as artists. We do it.
Yeah.
When it's time to work, you work.
I'm not there yet for 3 weeks. That was
you know what? Don't say that, because you'd be surprised. I thought I wasn't there in 3 weeks. But when it's time to do some discipline and you have a good script, you have something that you believe in, you'll do the work. You will do the work.
I'm just, you know what? I get scared that I will know the lines, but when you're living in a moment, will I forget the line?
That was my fear
too.
What I mean? That was my fear too. And let's talk about this, because all the way through my acting career, I've always what they call go up on lines, which means I never know my lines. I get ready to do my scene, I always forget my lines. This play, what I learned was I had to be fully engaged in what was going on. So we did exercises where we just sat there and we said the lines. He would say his line. It was like a Meisner technique almost. You say the lines, you listen, and you respond. Like I had to absorb what he was saying. And even though at first it didn't trigger what I was saying, but when I really listened to what he was saying, it triggered your next response. So you had to be fully engaged in order to make it work. And that's what it is. You're creating real responses. So that's the other thing we love about live theater, because every night is a different performance. The way we did it on the first night was completely different than the way we did on the last night. We came in with a different energy. It flowed a different way. You know, lines came out a different way. So that's what we love. But
that is true.
That's
the one thing I do miss about the stage. It is so real. You are in it. Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest. is listening to the audience kind of subconsciously when they're like, ooh, you know what I mean? So I love a little bit of, I love that. That makes me feel excited and happy.
Right. The real-time response. But the thing is too, is that sometimes, this is live theater, you say something and you don't get the response. And you're like, oh shit, did I mess that up? Or you just have to keep going because you got a different crowd in the audience. They don't respond the same way to everything.
I know. Yeah. I don't mean the certain response, but just hearing anything is so because at the end of the day you're kind of in tune. I mean, sometimes you can block out everything what someone's saying, but sometimes it's like, I know me, like I absorb also what the audience is like entertaining, because you always got the whispers, like, what I'm saying. So that's all. So it's just live theater. Yeah, that's why I see a lot of plays before COVID, because I think it just reminds me of like why I like doing this. Live theater is beautiful. It's really, really beautiful.
And I always thought that I didn't have the voice because I'm pretty soft spoken. So for me to project loud enough for the audience to hear in a theater, I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know, but you do it.
No, you're pretty. Nah, I think you can project. I just think like, it's just a habit. I think. Yeah, just because even now you're projecting well. Like, so I think. How do you feel when you're on stage and you have, say like an intimate show like we did, where the audience is almost right up on you? It makes me very conscious of making sure that I'm paying attention to my the person I'm acting with, then starting to be subconscious about the audience. I really go into my mind and I start shutting it down like they do not exist. Because I'm very good at doing the horse blinders.
Right.
And I think I did that before, like 2 shows. And I noticed the first show I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know the audience would be that close. And you know how the lights are where you really don't see the audience.
Right.
But the lights weren't that dark. And I noticed them like literally in my face. And so what I tried to do was like, because I was very conscious the first show, I tried to sit away where like I'm kind of like, they can still see me, but my peripheral vision is not the best.
Right.
So I try to make it where my peripheral vision is not the best. So that means I can't really see anything. So it was just for me. But on the second show, I was like, okay, I wasn't prepared for that, because the way we did the rehearsals, it wasn't long. So, and plus it was like, I think I didn't do that many plays and I never had anything that close. So the second show, I just was like, I was already mentally ready. Like, they're here, don't pay no attention to them.
Right.
And and I noticed too, like what I do, I don't break the fourth wall.
Right.
Because I notice if they're too reactive, they'll get me off track because I'm trying to entertain them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because some people do that.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, that to me is a little tricky because that's too much gambling for me. And I know for me, like, I haven't been on stage that long, like, like a Broadway performer, to be interacting back, you know what I mean? Like, I just be like, no, you just don't exist.
Right. Yeah, see, I wouldn't even break the fourth wall unless the script calls for it.
But they sometimes do that on Broadway. Like, I know Denzel did that. Right. When I saw him in Iceman, he did that twice.
Interesting.
And he was so good at it. So good at it.
Well, a show like Iceman, you kind of have to, because that show is long. It is.
Yeah, he had a 20-minute monologue.
Yeah, it's heavy.
He had a 20-minute monologue, and he was just eating it up, and he broke the fourth wall like twice, and I just loved it. I loved it. I said, he better go ahead.
Yeah,
but he's a veteran because he started in theater, and also like when you have been in theater for more than 20 years, you know the ropes of things. Right. And I bet you and I had to do theater for 1 whole year. we would know the ropes of like how to do things.
Right.
But when you do film a lot and you go back and forth between, like you said, you haven't done stage in 6 years. I'm pretty much the same way. So it's going to be things that I have to adapt again, going back to stage. So, you know, so it's one of those things like, oh, it's back riding the bike again. And some things you have to remember, you know?
Right. Do you have problems? I mean, we talked about this just a little briefly, but do you have problems memorizing lines?
No, I don't. No? No, I don't. The reason why I don't have problems memorizing lines is because there's two things. I always give myself enough time to learn the lines, and also how I absorb the line. I always think about, there's three things. So the second thing is, when I see lines, I think about, what am I saying? What do I want? And what am I hoping to gain? You know what I mean? Because that's always in there in the line, especially if it's long. It's always about something that you're saying that like you're trying to say something, get something, and then there's always something that like you're always explaining. Like there's always like an order on how things go. You know what I mean? Even if they're out of order, but it's always about you trying to get something, you explaining something, or you're trying to make a point of something. So that's kind of how I remember things of like, okay, this part of the monologue is I'm trying to now explain something. And it always have my like antennas that are like, boop, 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 boop. This is when you're supposed to do this.
Right.
And the other thing I noticed when I learn lines, it starts looking like a map. Like, I don't know what it is. You know how like musicians see colors?
Right, yeah.
I see words. So in my mind, I start seeing it literally in my face when I'm learning the lines. Like, and once I get the lines, they're literally like, I can literally see them in front of me of like, this says this is this and this. So, but I think we talked about this, is that I also believe in keeping up with the work of, even though I'm not on stage, but because I memorize sides, I do at least 3 times a week or twice a week.
I was gonna ask you that, yeah.
Yeah, at least 30 to 40 minutes a day. If I'm really, really lazy, I'll just do like a good 15 minutes and go hard. But I try to learn either the same monologue or a different monologue. And I always try to learn it within 2 weeks. And I just keep going over it. Or I try to learn at least a good chunk of it, like by the end of the week. Right. And I just keep going over that. So it'll be like a monologue for the month, right? I'll pick something from like Night Mother. And then by the end of 2 weeks, I should know it fully. And then I'll keep saying it and going over it for a whole month. And then I'll move on to a different monologue.
Right.
But it's just the memorization that's helpful.
That's helpful because the mind is, it's like a muscle. So you have to keep flexing it.
And that's what memorization is. It's just a muscle. That's all. And I noticed ever since I started doing that, because I noticed, this is what I noticed. When I was doing, getting sides for TV and film and all of these, it would take me so long to learn sides. And I'd be like, why does it take me so long to learn sides? And I noticed when I did this workshop with Ruben Santiago with Stellar Adler program, and they had a Black program, he taught us that you have to keep studying the craft at least the minimum is 3 times a week. Like either if you're writing, if you're doing something, keep studying it like all the time. Right. He's like, even if you're not booking TV and film, get some sides off the internet. Start doing, you know what I mean? Like do self-tapes at least once, maybe whatever you need to do, but you have to put a criteria together, like a curriculum for yourself. So in between, while you're like, the dry season is happening, or in between like auditions, you're fresh. You don't have to be like, oh, it's gonna take me forever to learn something, or I don't know how to set up my camera. You're always fast.
You're always fast, yeah. And you're ready.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Because I even noticed when it deals with technology, I used to be like, yo, every time I'm about to film something, it always something go wrong. But if you keep messing with your equipment, you know what you need to buy.
Right.
And you also know what you need to do. Like, oh, okay, I know at the end of the day, when things go wonky, I need to charge my computer a day ahead. So when the day comes for me, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, you already know, even if it's the wonky stuff, you know what it is and you're never shocked.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's what they say. Going back to what you said about Ruben Santiago Hudson, that's what they all say. They say, no matter, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a celebrity, if you are famous, you still, they still take acting lessons.
Yes.
Acting coaches, those type of things to keep sharp, because it's a never ending process, to keep learning about the craft.
Yeah.
Keep perfecting it and get better and learn something new that you didn't know that may work the next time. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm a big, and plus it's like, it keeps you fresh.
It
keeps you on your toes. And also like when we're dealing with different parts of our life, I noticed that like, like we were saying, like I was telling you on the phone, like when things get busy, you don't have sometimes to, like me doing it 3 times a week, right? Right now, I'm not as busy, right? So, but when I get busy, I might not can do 3 times a week. So all that effort I did for the last 6 months, that will suffice for me when I get busy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I might not can do nothing for 2 months, but at least I have 6 months of work or a year of work of like, I'm good, I'm okay.
6 months of training, ready.
Because you don't want to, I think the main thing I have learned, what is my weakness is, you want to dust yourself off, and it's just like, you don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
Just at least twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever. And like I said,
it's like
a lot.
It's like a car. It's like you take your car in for maintenance to make sure your car will be running, continually running. Right?
Yes.
So if something does happen, maybe you just get a flat tire, but it's not a flat tire and the muffler and the something else.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And also I learned it's also for memorization, but I also learned it's easier to get into character. If you're always acting and bringing yourself to the character, it's easier to get into character than when you haven't read anything. Right. You haven't done nothing. You know what I mean? Right, Like it's easier. And then I noticed when you read scripts more, right? Even plays and scripts, you read faster. You get it faster. You get the nuances faster.
You think that's also from life experience too, like a young actor versus an older actor,
that
because
is true
they've had a little more experience to draw from. The young actors are hungry, they want to do it. A lot of them get it, and it turns out great. But as an older actor, you know a lot more, so you can bring more experience to the character, and be able to hopefully, reproduce it in a way that's amazing.
Oh no, that's definitely that's a good way of thinking it. Yeah, definitely. I just think it's like what you said. It's a life learning craft, and it's like you're never too old to learn.
Never too old.
Because somebody always can teach you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait till one day I get a full-time like coach that I can see that at least like twice a week, or once a week. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that would be really nice to like check in and do those things, So, or maybe I can do those things. I just have to stop buying so many flights. Like buying flights, like that $200 to go to something else.
Right.
That's
all right.
Yeah.
So all that was about me. What's been going on with you? Anything?
Oh my gosh. So I have been working on, so I know you guys are probably waiting for the magazine articles to drop. I'm a little bit behind, so those are going to be dropping soon. There's going to be dropping in August.
Right. Refresh everybody's memory. What the
So it's Black Magazine is the editor-in-chief is a Black woman, and it's for Black women, and it's also for Black men, but it's really geared towards Black women. And I'm writing my own opinion op-ed, so opinion column. It's called My 2 Cents. So I'm going to be talking about any topics that I feel like talking about, and I think they're going to be ratchetly delicious. So I'm going to be doing that. Yes. So I'm just a little bit behind because I was doing so many other things. And then when vacation hit, I mean, that took me out.
Yeah, see, I know it did take you out. It took you out for a while. That's good.
It took me out.
That was the
but
purpose.
It took me out in a beautiful way.
Beautiful way, yeah.
In a beautiful way. It had me research and kind of like come into like, okay, what do things I really need to work on? So it really was great. I think sometimes when you go on vacation, you be thinking you're getting one thing, and I got something totally different. So, because I did a ActorsLife, I think it's called that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but it's equivalent to like like in America they would call a sweat lodge. So it was like a spiritual retreat that I kind of did, and so it just when I came back, I just had to like figure some things out, and now everything is working together. So
I like that. We talked about this in one of the episodes, but sometimes you have to step out of just the regular world, quote unquote, and recharge. You have to revitalize because especially living in New York City, this city is a lot, man. So you have to be able to step out, recharge, and then come back and figure the things out that you need to figure out to make it work again.
That is so true.
We all need it. And even if you can't get away, we were talking about this too, even if you can't get away to a place like Mexico, Tulum, you'd find that sanctuary somewhere in your house or in your city that you can go to and just like have your time, to recenter and then face it again and figure out a new
that
way.
is so true. Yeah. And that's what I've noticed is like, sometimes when you think you're behind in things, you're really not. You're right where you need to be.
Yes.
So you can give the energy to it. Because I think when I was doing the magazine, I was doing this and doing that. It was like I was doing so many things and forcing, and I'm learning to attract more by doing less.
Ooh.
So that's what I'm learning to do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And that's the energy you're putting out.
That is the energy I'm putting out, that I don't need to force anything. Mm-hmm. Because I noticed a habit I have is that I'm a little bit of like a go-getter, a problem solver. I kind of micromanage my life a little bit. And I've been listening to a lot of Gabrielle Bernstein. She's really, really good. She has a podcast called Dear Gabby. Mm-hmm. It's on YouTube and it's on Spotify. And I just learned that, and when she started talking about it, I started noticing like, I need to surrender more in my life. I need to trust more in my life. And then I just started saying like, and then she just made this episode about attract more by doing less. And so I was like, I'm gonna try that. And I started trying it. And I started noticing like the work I was doing, it didn't feel like work anymore. Okay. It felt like ease. And also I started noticing opportunities are coming, like not faster, but they're coming because I'm not forcing anything. And I'm not
also,
forcing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, since you slowed down just a little bit and looking, you probably are noticing, they probably were there before, but you're probably noticing them there now more.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. But I also think you notice it, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're telling yourself that, like, you're telling yourself you don't have it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So me micromanaging my life, I'm actually telling the universe, I don't have it. And the universe is saying it's right here in front of you.
Right.
And that's when I started noticing it's here. My guides are here.
Yeah.
If I don't know how to get to somewhere.
Listen. Or accept, here it is, accept it in this form. And it doesn't have to be in that form.
Yes. And that's what I was working on too. We get so caught up, especially me, on the attachment of how it needs to come.
Exactly. We all.
And it's like, stop, stop that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It, like you said, accept the form that it might come this way.
Right.
Not that way.
Right.
And I got, and ever since I started doing that, it's been like smooth sailing. Mm-hmm. I speak things, I'd be like, okay, God, It don't even be about bills, because bills are gonna be taken care of regardless. But it'd be like, okay, God, I'm trying to do this workshop. I'm trying to do this. Like, make the provisions. But you know what I mean? I need some new headshots. Make the provisions. You know? And if the provisions would be open, but you always have a choice.
Right. You have a choice.
You have a choice.
You also have to do your part, you know what I mean, and lead yourself in that direction.
Oh no, definitely.
It's
definitely. But that's what the missing ingredient, what a lot of us miss. If you start the momentum by doing the work, like if you need provisions, right?
Right.
If you start looking for the job or going to your contacts, right? Of like, do somebody need here, do other jobs, da-da-da. What happens is the universe brings a job to you. Yeah. But because you already started the momentum of a self-starter and looking for it, it makes a big difference. So I noticed momentum is not just with prayer, it's with the work.
Right.
Because we always forget that. You know,
which can also come in the form of speaking it, because you never know who's listening, who may be the one to help you, or may know someone that'll help you, or something that'll help you.
Yes.
So without the arrogance and all that stuff, just speaking, what it is.
Yes.
So and then
true.
It comes to you, and it comes to you.
True.
Yep. That it's about making connections. That kind of happened to me this week too. I was speaking about the show, and I was saying, someone said, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, I'm great today. I just closed the show last night." They said, "Oh, what was the show about?" Turns out that the woman had an office in the World Trade that dealt with intercommunications. Oh. And she said, "Wow, I wish I had known about this. I would have brought everybody that I worked with to this show." She said, "Can you put me on your email list?" I said, "Absolutely. Yeah." Oh. So, you know what I mean? Like those type of connections and things happen when you speak about it too.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily something concrete but you never know where this lady's going to play a role in my life. Maybe
you never know.
Mounted. Maybe she'll be the financier behind a Broadway project. Maybe she'll be, you don't know. But I certainly put her on the email list. She'll get an email.
And I keep telling my friends that, like, don't be so secretive about the things that you're doing.
Right.
Because the universe or God, whatever you believe, is sending someone to help you.
Right.
I think a lot of us have been hurt and need healing from people.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, when you've been healed, you can speak about what you're doing. No, don't get me wrong. You ain't gotta give like intricate
not
details.
Everything. Yeah, you don't have to give.
But
everything.
like you just said, I'm in a show. Mm-hmm. You don't know who she knows.
Right.
You don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
She could be a producer, like, you know what I mean? She could have a certain amount of money and be a producer, like you said, for the show. To go somewhere.
Yeah.
To be like off Broadway, then Broadway. You don't know. So I keep telling people, stop being so secretive about what you're doing. Let people know, and also let your spirit guide you in who you should talk to.
Right.
It will, if you listen to your spirit, if you always meditate and you pray, I believe you always know your spirit when it's talking to you. I believe the only reason why people don't know their spirit and what it sounds like, you're not in harmony with it. You're not in harmony and you don't speak it. You don't speak to it, so you don't know what it is.
Right.
Because you know how some people be like, it'll be a whisper? Honey, it's only a whisper because you're in your infancy of meditation and prayer and hearing it. I love your face.
Oh my God, somebody's on here dropping gems today.
How do we get on this subject?
I don't even know.
It's you every time, boo.
Always you.
Every time.
Sometimes we just got to go down the path that we're supposed to go down.
You're right. Sometimes we have to.
That's what it was today. Listen, everybody, we took you down a path today. If you like this show, please let us know, because we got a lot more stuff coming up for you. We are going to be going live this week I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully this episode will be out before we go live.
Right.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
And the subject that we were supposed to talk about, we'll talk about on the live.
We're going to talk about it on the live. So I love it. Everybody, please make sure you follow us on the show at OneMicNite. OneMicNite is spelled OneMicNite. You can
turn your notifications on.
Turn the notifications on. We're OneMicNite on all social media. That includes Tumblr. I know some of y'all don't even have Tumblr anymore, but OneMicNite Tumblr.
I was like, ooh.
It's still rolling. Also, I want to make a quick announcement too. The OneMicNite Nation, which is what we're under now, because we have OneMicNite podcast with Marco. We have OneMicNiteTalk with Ashley Elizabeth Green. OneMicNite Nation has celebrated its 15th year anniversary in July. So OneMicNite has been around for 15 years. So I want to thank you. We're going to have a little special episode about that. But I want to thank everybody who's been a part of OneMicNite. Also, I'm going to make one more quick announcement too. I'm going to be on Fuse radio station with an interview. One of the OneMicNite artists is a VJ, I guess you can call it, on the radio station. Also wants to interview me. Her name is Liz Menezes. You know her from episode 2 of OneMicNite podcast. She has battled cancer and she's the #1 selling artist. But she's back doing her thing, so she's going to be interviewing me on that coming up soon.
Yes.
But also, make sure you follow us and find out what we're doing. I got some other films coming up. Ashley has some projects she's working on too.
Oh, yes. I'll be able to talk about them soon in September. Yes.
Tell them how to find you, Ashley.
Find me at Ashley Elizabeth Green. Find me there.
Find her there.
And put your notifications on. I always have a cute story or a cheeky story.
She better be on Twitter soon too.
Oh, oops. Yes. Yes, sir.
But for now, you can slide into the DMs on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, for now, I got you. I'm gonna do it today.
Yeah. Okay. And you can find me at Marcos Luis, MarcosLuis, everything.com. We thank you for joining us for this episode, and check us out on the live coming up soon. We got a lot more to talk about. We haven't talked in weeks, so we got a lot to talk about.
I know.
So make sure you join us. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.